What if the key to becoming a better miniature painter isn't found in your next masterpiece, but buried in the models you've never finished? Behind every showpiece lies a hidden archive. Half-finished projects, stripped-down miniatures, dream kits never touched. We call it the pile of shame, but if you want to be poetic, you could call it the miniature graveyard. Every abandoned miniature tells a story. Sometimes it's as simple as life got busy, but often it runs deeper. Your pile of shame isn't just clutter. It's a reflection of your creative rhythms, your mindset, even your fears. So today, we're diving deep into the pile of forgotten, not to wallow in guilt, but to mine it for insight. Because understanding why we abandon miniatures might just be the secret to finishing them, and more importantly, to becoming a better, more intentional painter. This is my pile of shame. Some of the most beautiful miniatures I own live here. Like this stunning piece from Inu Kingdom that I've been dreaming about painting for years. Or this mindwork model gifted to me by someone very important who's no longer with us. And of course, there are the half-painted ones. This Kingdom Death pinup, stripped and repainted several times. The Flower Witch, she's about 75% done and has lived on the shelf in my gaming room for over 3 years. Honestly, I'm not too hard on myself. My pile is relatively modest, considering that miniature painting is literally my job. But it's still there, and it still speaks to me. Today, while we talk, I'm working on one of those forgotten projects, the Bather. She was sent to me years ago when the model first released, and I immediately fell in love. So why has it taken me years to pick up the brush? Well, we'll talk about it when we get there. Let's start at the beginning, the moment a project is born. So many miniature projects start with an electric burst of excitement. That, yes, this is the one moment that inspires us to drop everything else that we're working on and dive headfirst into this new project. Whether it's buying a new sculpt, priming a base, or laying down that first stroke of paint, it can feel like you're on top of the world. For me, that was the Flower Witch. I painted her and built this base as a gift to myself when I became a full-time YouTuber. I absolutely adore this sculpt. Honestly, she's the miniature that got me into painting in the first place. I filmed her for the video, full of excitement, and then never finished her. But what happened? Somewhere along the way, that spark turned into a routine. What began as a celebration started to feel predictable. The novelty faded, and with it, my drive to paint it. If that sounds familiar, you might be what I like to call a starter. Starters are fueled by possibility. A new miniature, a bold color palette, a character you've fallen in love with from a book or game. Something lights a fire, and boom, you're all in. The dopamine is flowing, you're up painting all night. But finishing? That takes discipline, repetition, and sometimes even boredom, and that does not sound like any fun. If you find yourself starting a lot of projects and never finishing them, it might be more than just enthusiasm, it might be a pattern. Some of us struggle with creative impulsivity, or we fall in love with ideas that outpace our time, energy, or budget. You're not alone if you've started a sprawling diorama or ambitious kit bash, only to realize halfway through, this is way too much. On the other side of unfinished projects is something even more common, shifting priorities. Because life happens. When your time and energy are limited, and everyone's is, setting projects aside doesn't always mean giving up. It can be a powerful act of creative prioritization. A way of saying, right now, this isn't where the magic lives for me. Tired of scrolling through endless cat memes and ads? Even when all you want is miniature painting inspiration, you're not alone. Meet Base Layer, the community built for miniature painters. Unlike Facebook or Instagram, here you control your feed. Want to see only 32mm fantasy, violet color schemes, object source lighting, or speed paint challenges? Done. You filter by color, genre, time spent, paint brand technique, any combination you can imagine. Every project you post can live in collections, private or public, so you can curate your own little library of ideas and themes to return to later. Base Layer isn't a social network that shoehorns minis, it's a home for mini painting from novices to masters. Stop letting an algorithm decide your inspiration. Start painting with intention. Join Base Layer today. Curate your feed, be inspired. Let's talk about one of the sneakiest reasons to abandon a project or never take it up in the first place: perfectionism. Honestly, perfectionism is my biggest roadblock to finishing my pile of shame. Unfinished projects feel safe. A finished piece is out in the world. It can be judged, criticized, or fall short of the vision you had. But an unpainted mini, that's pure potential. It can be perfect as long as it stays untouched. For example, I have these two miniatures I've spent so much time prepping. I've gap-filled, sanded, filed, cleaned every tiny detail. They're ready to paint. And yet they've been sitting in my drawer for years. Why? Because I want to do them justice. The sculpts are stunning, and I would rather leave them unfinished in my drawer than finish them badly. Which is exactly why the Bather hasn't been painted until now. Now let's say you do start. You're partway through a project, like this one right here. But suddenly the blends aren't blending, the contrast isn't looking right, and it suddenly feels safer to put the model down than it does to fail. That's called self-doubt. Stopping doesn't save you from imperfection, it just freezes you inside it. And here's something wild. Our brains are actually wired to remember our unfinished projects more than it remembers our completed masterpieces. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. That mental clutter can stack up. Every time you see that half-finished model in your drawer, it whispers, "You should have finished me." And that whisper can drain your energy, distract you from new work, and feed your inner critic. So we've talked about why you abandon your miniatures. The next question is, what can we do about it? How do we paint through resistance or gracefully step away when we need to? Let's break it down. Sometimes the fix is practical. You don't need to have a huge breakthrough. You just need a project not to feel overwhelming. Try breaking your project into bite-sized goals. Instead of saying, "I need to finish this entire miniature," say, "Today I'm just painting the cloak." That small momentum builds trust within yourself. Little wins stack up. If you're bored or stuck, try shaking things up. Use an unusual color for shading. Might I recommend purple? Try a technique you've never tested before, or change your miniature painting playlist. When I feel that spark fading, I scroll through base layer or flip through Instagram to remind myself why I love the project in the first place. And remember, finishing is a skill that needs to be trained. Pick a quick project, a speed paint or a bust with only 3 colors, and complete it just to practice finishing. No pressure, just closure. If perfectionism is your biggest monster, and we know that it is mine, then start by shifting how you measure success. First, accept the ugly stage. That awkward middle part of a project, that's not a failure, it's just part of the process. It means you're in the middle of making something amazing. Focus on the process, not the product. Paint to learn, paint to enjoy the act, not to impress your future self or your followers. Try this trick. Set a 30-minute timer. Paint until the bell rings, then stop. This trains your brain to show up and let go. It breaks the loop of endless tweaking and chasing perfection. And sometimes finishing isn't the goal. Sometimes letting go can be the best thing for everyone. Ask yourself, why did I start this piece? Then, does this reason still matter to me now? If the answer is no, that's okay. Box it up, label it, and put it aside for the future you. You might return with fresh eyes, you might not. Both are perfectly valid. Instead of being filled with regret, take some time to reflect. Do a little post-mortem. Ask, what stopped me? Was it burnout, the technique, my schedule? Learning from this is more important than blindly pushing through it. Look for patterns. Do you always lose interest at the same point? Are there specific kinds of minis you abandon? Once you know your habits, you can work with them. Most importantly, reframe the narrative. Instead of saying, I failed to finish this, try, I chose to focus my energy where it serves me best right now. And remember, not every idea or every project needs to be finished. Editors don't publish every paragraph they've written. Composers cut whole verses or sometimes just don't release a song at all. Letting go of a project is part of the art. It's making space for what matters most. Whether you're pushing through your project or setting it aside, unfinished miniatures aren't a dead weight. They're just part of the journey. Every abandoned miniature still holds a lesson. Every pros project made you a better painter. So don't be afraid of your pile of shame, listen to it. And then when you're ready, pick up your brush again. All right, that's it from me. You know the drill, like, comment, subscribe. I will be teaching 3 classes this October at Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. If you've ever wanted to take a class by me, improve your colors, learn how to speed paint better, or level up your face game, then join me at Dragonfall this October. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.